Hello Golden State Warriors fans. We are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.
What Josh Giddey's extension means for Jonathan Kuminga. As NBA training camp quickly approaches, the market remains gridlocked, not because of a lack of talent, but because so many restricted free agents, RFAs, are still in limbo. That bottleneck is finally starting to break. First, Cam Thomas accepted his qualifying offer with the Brooklyn Nets, setting himself up for unrestricted free agency in 2026. Now, things are really getting interesting. The Chicago Bulls just inked Josh Giddey to a 4-year, $100 million deal, a big bet on the former top 10 pick they acquired earlier this offseason. Meanwhile, reports suggest Quentin Grimes may be heading back to the Philadelphia 76ers, which shifts the spotlight onto a name that hasn't made much noise lately, Jonathan Kuminga. So, what does Giddey's deal mean for Kuminga? On the surface, not much, at least not directly. According to NBA insider Brett Siegel, Giddey's extension doesn't materially impact Kuminga's negotiations with the Golden State Warriors. But there's nuance here. Siegel points out that this window, while teams are still sorting out restricted free agents, is precisely when Kuminga's camp has been pushing hardest for a long-term deal that includes a player option. Reportedly, Kuminga would be happy with something in the range of 4 years, $100 million, similar to what Giddey got. But the Warriors? They've been hesitant. Their last known offer was 2 years, $45 million, much shorter and more flexible from a team perspective. And that hesitation might not just be about the player himself. Golden State could be worried that if they give Kuminga a big long-term deal, other teams won't be willing to take that contract in a trade, which would lower his value as an asset. It's not necessarily about whether they want to keep him, it may be about protecting future flexibility. The most likely outcome? A 1-year gamble. All signs point to Kuminga potentially accepting the qualifying offer, playing out the 2025 season, and becoming an unrestricted free agent in 2026, just like Cam Thomas. That route gives Kuminga full control over his future, but it's also a risk. One injury or underwhelming season could cost him millions. Still, unless Golden State steps up with a stronger offer, this might be the best path forward. From there, the Warriors could work with Kuminga's camp to find a trade, a move that benefits both sides and avoids the worst-case scenario, losing him for nothing in free agency. Bottom line. Josh Giddey's deal helps set the bar, but it doesn't shift the Warriors' position, at least not yet. Kuminga's future in Golden State remains uncertain, and the clock is ticking. Will the Warriors bet on his upside now, or let him walk into the unknown? Time will tell. But for now, it seems the standoff continues. A deal deferred, or a sign of departure. Kuminga's situation is especially delicate because of what he represents. He's one of the few young, athletic, two-way wings on a Warriors roster that's aging rapidly. With Klay Thompson gone and Draymond Green no longer in his prime, Kuminga was expected to be the bridge between the championship core and the next generation. And for stretches last season, he looked the part, averaging career highs across the board and flashing real star potential. But the Warriors' front office seems reluctant to commit to a future built around him. That hesitation has raised eyebrows around the league, with multiple teams reportedly monitoring his situation, should a trade become more likely. Orlando, Toronto, and even San Antonio have all been floated as possible destinations. The team's offer of $45 million over 2 years suggests they're still unsure whether Kuminga is a future centerpiece or just a high-upside trade chip. In fact, several insiders believe Golden State is keeping their options open intentionally, waiting to see how the trade market evolves, especially with names like Lauri Markkanen and Jeremy Grant potentially becoming available. The league-wide ripple effect. Josh Giddey's $100 million extension also adds pressure elsewhere. With that number now out in the open, other restricted free agents, like Trey Murphy III, Patrick Williams, and even Obi Toppin, have more clarity on where the market stands. And that, in turn, creates more leverage for agents to either push for long-term deals now or bet on themselves with qualifying offers. For Kuminga, the Giddey deal essentially sets the financial bar, not because they're the same type of player, but because both are still viewed as unfinished products with upside. Giddey didn't need to become an all-star to earn $25 million per year. So why should Kuminga settle for less? That's exactly the kind of question his camp is asking, and the kind Golden State is clearly wrestling with. What happens if Kuminga accepts the QO? If Kuminga takes the qualifying offer, he'd earn about $7.7 million this upcoming season, significantly less than what he could command in a multi-year deal. But that short-term hit gives him long-term control. He becomes unrestricted in 2026, free to sign wherever he pleases, with no strings attached. The risk, of course, is health and opportunity. Kuminga would need to stay healthy, maintain his production, and avoid falling out of Steve Kerr's rotation, something that's happened in the past. The upside? A breakout season could push his value well above the $100 million mark in a rising cap environment. But it also puts pressure on Golden State. If he takes the QO, they lose all negotiating leverage. Teams would know he's walking, and the trade value would plummet. In other words, the Warriors are on the clock, and they know it. A franchise at a crossroads. All of this drama around Kuminga speaks to a larger truth. The Warriors are at a crossroads. Their dynasty is clearly in its final chapters. With Steph Curry still playing at an elite level, the front office is trying to compete now without mortgaging the future, a nearly impossible balancing act. Kuminga, meanwhile, is caught in the middle. Too good to be overlooked, but not yet trusted enough to be handed the keys. His contract situation is more than just a negotiation, it's a test of the organization's vision and identity. If they truly believe in a two-timeline approach, locking up Kuminga should be a no-brainer. If not, they may need to move on, sooner rather than later. Should Arsenal be giving Bukayo Saka more rest? Bukayo Saka has started yet another season with injury concerns, and it's beginning to spark a worrying question. Is he becoming injury-prone? There's no doubt that Saka has been the beating heart of Arsenal's rise in recent years. His consistency, creativity, and work ethic have made him indispensable. But that level of importance comes with a cost, and if he's sidelined for any significant period, it could derail the club's ambitions. A victim of his own brilliance, Saka's style of play is fast, fearless, and relentlessly direct. He takes on defenders, draws fouls, and rarely backs down from a challenge. But with that bravery comes physical punishment. Week after week, he's targeted by opposition defenders, and it's taking a toll. Injuries have become a recurring theme, and while he often plays through the pain, the long-term risks are beginning to show. Arsenal's over-reliance on Saka. No one can overstate how vital Saka is to Arsenal's system. Last season, when he was out with a long-term injury, the team's title challenge lost momentum. Martin Degarde's form dipped in his absence, and the right flank, usually so fluid and threatening, lost its spark. Now, just a few weeks into the new campaign, Saka is already unavailable again. The pattern is becoming familiar, and it raises an important question. Is Arsenal asking too much of him? Time to embrace squad rotation. The good news. Arsenal now have a deeper squad than they've had in years. The arrival of reinforcements gives Mikel Arteta more flexibility, and the chance to manage Saka's minutes more carefully. It may no longer be necessary, or wise, to start him in every competition. Resting him during the Champions League group stage, for example, could allow him to focus on the Premier League, where every point matters. Similarly, easing him out of early-round domestic cup fixtures would preserve his energy for the season's defining moments. This kind of smart rotation isn't about wrapping him in cotton wool. It's about protecting one of the club's most valuable assets from burnout. Protecting the future by managing the present. Saka is still only 24, yet has already played a staggering amount of football at the highest level. The physical and mental demands of carrying a club like Arsenal, week in, week out, are enormous. And while he thrives under pressure, even the best need time to recharge. If Arsenal are serious about long-term success, they must think beyond the next game. They need Saka fit, firing, and available when it matters most, not limping through key fixtures or watching from the stands. By managing his workload now, Arteta and his staff can extend Saka's peak years, reduce injury risk, and ensure he's able to deliver at the elite level for seasons to come. Because one thing is clear, Arsenal without Saka just isn't the same. The bigger picture, Arsenal's title aspirations depend on Saka's fitness. As Arsenal aim to go one step further this season and clinch the Premier League title, the reality is clear, they need Bukayo Saka at his best. His absence last season during key matches coincided with Arsenal's dip in form and ultimate title collapse. The lesson is simple: if Saka breaks down again, so might their momentum. But this goes beyond just one player. How Arsenal handles Saka's situation could set a precedent for how they manage young, high-performing talents across the squad. With rising stars like Ethan Nwaneri and Amario Kozijuberi also emerging, the club must strike a balance between pushing for success and protecting its future. Saka's international commitments add more pressure. It's also important to consider Saka's international responsibilities. As a regular starter for England, he's rarely afforded a real off-season. Summer tournaments, international qualifiers, and friendlies continue to pile onto his already demanding club schedule. With Euro 2026 on the horizon, Gareth Southgate will undoubtedly rely on him once again, which means Arsenal must be even more deliberate in giving him periods of rest when possible. If they don't, the danger of chronic fatigue or more serious injuries will only grow. How Arsenal can ease the burden without losing quality. Rotation doesn't have to mean compromise. Arsenal's improved depth allows them to be smarter, not weaker. Reiss Nelson has proven to be a capable deputy, especially in cup matches and as a dynamic sub. Leandro Trossard is versatile enough to shift to the right wing when needed, and his technical quality can keep the team competitive. Noni Madueke, though primarily left-footed, could be integrated more regularly into the system if needed. In other words, there are real options, it just takes the courage to use them. And when used wisely, these changes can also make Saka more effective when he does play, keeping his legs fresh and his mind sharp. Saka's mental load, another layer often ignored. Beyond the physical toll, Saka has carried enormous emotional and psychological weight over the last few years. From bouncing back after the Euro 2020 penalty heartbreak to becoming the face of Arsenal's project, the pressure has been relentless. Yet he's handled it with maturity far beyond his years. But even the strongest shoulders need a break. Giving him space, not just physically but mentally, could help him reset and come back even stronger. Final thought: sustainability over short-term gains. Mikel Arteta has built a culture around discipline, trust, and long-term vision. But now, more than ever, that vision needs to include smart player management. Saka is not just a star, he's the cornerstone of the club's future. Treating him as such means protecting him now so that he can shine for years, not just weeks. Yes, every game matters. But so does Saka's health, and the smarter Arsenal are about that today, the more they'll be rewarded tomorrow. Draymond Green sends heartfelt message to LeBron James and Chris Paul. Golden State Warriors forward Draymond Green is no stranger to greatness. He's played alongside it, he's helped build it, and he's well on his way to being enshrined in the Basketball Hall of Fame himself. But this week, the Warriors veteran took a moment to shine a light on a historic achievement by two of his legendary peers, LeBron James and Chris Paul. A historic Hall of Fame class. While most NBA legends have to wait until long after retirement for their Hall of Fame moment, this year was different. As part of the 2025 Hall of Fame class, the 2008 U.S. Olympic Redeem Team was officially inducted, a squad that featured some of the most iconic players in basketball history, including the still active LeBron and Chris Paul. Their induction makes them the only active NBA players in history to receive this honor while still playing, a powerful statement about their impact not just on the league, but on the global game. Alongside them, Carmelo Anthony and Dwight Howard also received individual induction, rounding out a truly unforgettable Hall of Fame weekend. Draymond's message: "That's crazy." Draymond Green took to threads on Tuesday to show love and respect for his friends and fellow legends. LeBron James and Chris Paul got orange jackets while still hooping. "That's crazy." Green wrote. Draymond has never been shy about giving credit where it's due, especially when it comes to LeBron, someone he's battled fiercely in the finals and bonded with off the court. His post wasn't just a nod to a milestone, it was a genuine expression of admiration for two players who have redefined longevity, leadership, and excellence in the game. Double honor for Carmelo Anthony. Green didn't stop there. He also gave a shout-out to his former Team USA teammate Carmelo Anthony, who not only entered the Hall individually but also as a member of the Redeem Team, earning 2 orange jackets in one day. Carmelo Anthony, in the Hall. 2 orange jackets in a day. Fire fire, Green posted. It was a full-circle moment for Melo, a 10-time All-Star and one of the most prolific scorers in league history, whose contributions to Team USA are often overlooked when discussing his legacy. Future Hall of Famers in Golden State. While LeBron and CP3 have already secured their place in history, Golden State's own legends aren't far behind. Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson, the core of a dynasty that brought 4 championships to the Bay, are all considered virtual locks for the Hall of Fame. In fact, ESPN's Zach Kram recently ranked Curry among the select few active players already worthy of the NBA's 75th anniversary team, highlighting the two-time MVP's place in history as the greatest shooter the game has ever seen. Green and Thompson were also included in Kram's non-top 75 tier, players who aren't on that exclusive list yet, but who've built Hall-worthy resumes through elite defense, playoff dominance, and championship pedigree. And what about Jimmy Butler? Another name getting serious Hall of Fame buzz is Jimmy Butler, especially after his leadership in guiding the Miami Heat to 2 NBA Finals appearances. While he doesn't have the rings of the Warriors trio, Butler's legacy is being shaped by his toughness, loyalty, and elite playoff performances, enough to earn him a strong case when his playing days are over. A brotherhood beyond basketball. Moments like this, where legends celebrate legends, remind us that the NBA is more than a league. It's a brotherhood. And Draymond Green, in true form, made sure to give flowers while his peers can still smell them. As LeBron James and Chris Paul continue to write their final chapters and players like Curry, Green, and Thompson build on their legacies, one thing is certain. Basketball history is still being made, and it's an honor to witness it. A new standard for active legends. The induction of LeBron James and Chris Paul into the Hall of Fame while still playing isn't just a celebration, it's a precedent. It opens the door to a new conversation. Can active greatness be honored before retirement? And if so, who's next? While the Hall of Fame has traditionally been a retrospective honor, this moment feels like a shift. Recognizing current players, not just for career longevity, but for cultural impact, leadership, and historical significance, is something fans and analysts alike are applauding. And Draymond Green? He's watching that closely. What it means for Draymond's own legacy. Draymond may not be chasing personal accolades, but there's no denying his place in basketball history. A 4-time NBA champion, 2023 Defensive Player of the Year finalist, and the emotional engine behind one of the greatest dynasties in NBA history, Green has carved out a legacy on his own terms. With LeBron and CP3 getting their flowers now, it adds fuel to the conversation about players like Draymond, who might not have eye-popping scoring numbers, but whose impact on the game is immeasurable. Analyst J.J. Redick said it best in a recent podcast episode. If Draymond Green never scores another point, he's still a Hall of Famer. Period. The defense, the IQ, the winning, that's greatness. Green's social media posts celebrating his peers didn't just come from admiration. They carried an undertone of pride, of belonging. He knows his time will come. Reactions from around the league. Following the induction ceremony, tributes poured in from players, coaches, and fans. Steve Kerr, head coach of the Warriors and assistant on the 2008 Redeem team, said, "That team wasn't just about talent, it was about redemption, accountability, and setting a standard. LeBron and Chris were leaders then, and they've only grown since. This honor is well-deserved." C.J. McCollum tweeted, "LeBron and CP3 getting their jackets while still playing? Unreal. That's GOAT status. Respect." Andre Iguodala, Draymond's former teammate and fellow defensive savant, posted on Instagram, "Legacy moves in silence until it's too loud to ignore. Shout out to the ones who changed the game and kept going." Even younger stars like Tyrese Halliburton and Anthony Edwards chimed in, using words like inspiring and goals to describe what the moment meant to them. A moment that transcends the game. The 2025 Hall of Fame class didn't just reflect the past, it celebrated those still shaping the present. It served as a reminder that greatness isn't always measured after the fact. Sometimes it's so undeniable, so impactful, that it demands recognition in real time. Draymond Green's public salute to his friends wasn't just an emotional moment, it was part of a larger narrative. One about respect, brotherhood, and the understanding that legacy isn't built overnight, it's lived, daily. As Curry, Thompson, and Green gear up for another season in what could be their final run together, moments like these only add to the weight of what they've built. And what comes next? What's next for Golden State's core? With the Warriors entering a transitional phase, and rumors swirling about the future of their core, the Hall of Fame conversations take on even more meaning. If this is the final chapter of the Curry-Draymond-Klay era, then honoring these players properly, both now and in the years to come, becomes not just a matter of respect, but a matter of legacy. Draymond's message wasn't just a congratulations. It was a reflection of that legacy. And it's a reminder that he, too, has earned his seat at the table. 3 potential trade targets if the Warriors decide to move Jonathan Kuminga. As the offseason winds down, the Golden State Warriors are facing a critical decision: what to do with Jonathan Kuminga. If they manage to sign him to a deal, or even if he accepts the qualifying offer, Golden State could look to explore the trade market to retool around Steph Curry while the window is still open. Here are 3 intriguing trade targets the Warriors might consider if they decide to shop Kuminga. A quick look at the situation. With restricted free agency dragging into September, several young talents, including Kuminga, Josh Giddey, and Quentin Grimes, remain unsigned. Brooklyn's Cam Thomas recently broke the deadlock by accepting his qualifying offer, securing short-term control of his future and setting himself up for unrestricted free agency in 2026. Kuminga could take a similar route, which would be a nightmare scenario for Golden State, limiting their flexibility and increasing the risk of losing him for nothing. Reports suggest the Warriors have offered him a 2-year, $45 million deal, but there are whispers he may lean toward the qualifying offer instead. If he does take that path, it opens the door for Golden State to move him before the trade deadline, perhaps to land a player better aligned with their current win-now timeline. Trade target number 1. Trey Murphy 3. New Orleans Pelicans. Murphy is one of the league's best-kept secrets, a high-level contributor who hasn't quite cracked all-star status yet, but is knocking on the door. Last season, he averaged over 21 points per game on an impressive 59.8% true shooting, all while taking fewer than 16 shots per night. He's not just a scorer. Murphy has the size, instincts, and effort to be a strong defender, and his ability to contribute off the ball would make him a seamless fit next to Curry. New Orleans knows his value, so the asking price will be steep. But if the Warriors are serious about making another title push, Murphy could be the kind of two-way wing that helps them get there. Trade target number 2, Derek White. Boston Celtics. At first glance, Boston seems unlikely to move White. But with Jason Tatum potentially sidelined due to an Achilles injury and the Celtics possibly entering a transitional season, things could shift quickly. White, who turns 32 next season, is still in his prime, but Boston may look to get younger if they retool around Tatum in the future. That's where Kuminga comes in. He could be a short-term fill-in for Tatum and a long-term asset or trade chip. For the Warriors, White would be a dream fit alongside Curry: elite defense, high IQ, and the ability to play on or off the ball. If Boston is open to reshaping their roster, this could be a rare win-win deal. Trade target number 3, Jarrett Allen. Cleveland Cavaliers. There's talk that the Warriors might bring in Al Horford to anchor the center position, but let's be honest, a 39-year-old isn't solving Golden State's long-standing need for size and youth in the paint. If the Warriors want to get serious about addressing their interior presence, targeting Jarrett Allen makes a ton of sense. He's a proven rim protector, an efficient finisher, and could help reduce the physical toll on Draymond Green. The Cavs would need to underperform for this scenario to materialize, but if they decide to pivot, moving Allen would allow them to slide Evan Mobley to center and slot in a versatile wing like Kuminga. Allen's salary jumps to $28 million in 2026-27, so the time to make a move would be sooner rather than later. Final thoughts. Whether or not Kuminga stays with the Warriors, his situation presents a strategic opportunity for Golden State to upgrade their roster. With Steph Curry's championship window narrowing, maximizing every asset is crucial. If Kuminga ends up signing a deal, or even just the qualifying offer, the Warriors might be wise to consider turning potential into proven talent. These 3 targets, Murphy, White, and Allen, each offer a different path forward, but all align with the Warriors' ultimate goal: getting back to the top of the NBA. What's happening now? As we move deeper into September, the standoff between Jonathan Kuminga and the Golden State Warriors is becoming one of the most closely watched storylines in the NBA offseason. Despite a 2-year, $45 million offer from the Warriors, Kuminga has yet to agree to a deal, and now appears increasingly likely to accept the 1-year qualifying offer, betting on himself and aiming for unrestricted free agency in 2026. The situation remains tense. Sources around the league suggest that Kuminga is frustrated with his role in Golden State, feeling that his development has been inconsistent and his value underappreciated. At the same time, the Warriors seem hesitant to fully commit to a long-term extension without assurances about his growth and fit within their system. Both sides are exploring creative structures, such as shorter deals with player options, but no agreement has been reached. Growing pressure on both sides. The uncertainty is starting to impact Golden State's broader off-season strategy. Without clarity on Kuminga's future, the front office has held off on additional roster moves. They can't make meaningful trades or finalize their rotation until they know if Kuminga will be part of the picture, or a trade piece. Internally, the tension is evident. While teammates have shown support, there's an undercurrent of concern about how this standoff could affect locker room chemistry. Kuminga has kept a low profile lately, even limiting interaction on social media, which some view as a sign of mounting frustration. Head coach Steve Kerr has acknowledged the challenge of integrating Kuminga fully into the system, especially as the team tries to remain competitive in the twilight of Stephen Curry's prime. It's a delicate balance between developing young talent and maximizing every season they have left with their veteran core. Trade rumors continue to swirl. If Kuminga does accept the qualifying offer, the Warriors will still have the ability to trade him before the deadline, and rumors suggest they're preparing for that possibility. Several teams have shown interest, and potential trade packages are already being discussed behind the scenes. Among the names linked to Golden State as potential targets, Trey Murphy III, still considered one of the best fits. His shooting, defensive versatility, and ability to play off the ball would complement Curry perfectly. However, the Pelicans are reluctant to move him unless the return is significant. Derek White, with Boston in a transitional phase and Tatum dealing with injury concerns, White could become available. He would bring elite defense and playoff experience, making him an ideal partner in the backcourt with Curry. Jarrett Allen, the Warriors continue to seek help in the frontcourt. Allen's rebounding and rim protection would fill a long-standing need, while also freeing up Draymond Green from taking on larger interior responsibilities every night. Other speculative options have emerged in media discussions, ranging from three-team trades involving the Kings or Bulls, to less likely scenarios with rebuilding teams like Portland or even Phoenix. While many of these rumors are far from becoming reality, they reflect the growing belief that Kuminga's time in Golden State could be nearing its end. What's at stake? For the Warriors, this is about more than just one player. It's about timing. It's about legacy. And most importantly, it's about maximizing what's left of the Stephen Curry era. Letting Kuminga walk for nothing in 2026 would be a costly mistake, especially when his value is still relatively high. But trading him too early, or for the wrong return, could also set the franchise back years. This situation demands clarity and decisiveness. Whether the Warriors decide to recommit to Kuminga as part of their future, or use him to acquire a more proven piece, the next few weeks could define not just this season, but the next chapter of the Golden State dynasty.